thank you for joining us on this episode of the Old Ways podcast on Twitch. So let me know out there in TV land that you can hear me and hear everyone. Hopefully there are no earth-shattering gong sounds this time as we play, although no promises. No promises. So my name's Mike. I'm the chief creator and catalyst at Old Ways Entertainment, and I'm happy to bring you the second part of our Curseborne story called Deliciously Dark. We hope that you've so far enjoyed us. And so what I'd like to do is allow our cast to go through their introductions. You can meet them. And what I would like our cast to do this time is go ahead and give your normal introduction and then tell the audience something about your Curseborne that no one knows.
I wish I had time to think about this. Man, and I'm first. All right.
You are first.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I play Celine Morwin. She's an outcast. Our pronouns are she, her. And since we are in the year of 1987, I thought I would dress appropriately in my plaid and semi-grunge. And I got holes in my jeans that you can't see kind of thing. So I'm dressing apart. Although she's probably still wearing her slinky black dress that she was wearing. I don't own one of those. Anyways, I'm an Old Ways podcast member, and Celine, something that you wouldn't know about her is that she has the ability to ask you what your deepest desire is, and you have to tell her.
Fantastic. I wonder if we'll see that come into play. All right. And then next to Morgan.
Hi, I'm Pesto Mystic, and I am playing Evie tonight. She is hungry. And her pronouns are her, she. And something that you might not know about her, it's very lame in comparison, but she loves the Golden Girls.
Well, that's fantastic. Who doesn't like that show, right? Okay, so rounding the cast out this evening.
Hello. My name is Gilbert Ramos, aka Ramos the Nomad, CEO and founder of Rolling Nomads over here on Twitch. I will be playing Abel Roscato, the Primal, specifically of the Eight Hands. And something that we don't know about Abel, but I'm sure maybe a few of the viewers might have gathered, is that he is more than a little bit of an agoraphobe, and he does not like being outside. Makes him very uncomfortable, anxious, and a little testy.
Yes, chat, you're right. Pesto and Ramos are switched. I will work to correct that. As we wouldn't want to get them confused. Although, given that this is Curseborne, maybe we do. So while I work on that, what I will also remind you of during the stream is that because of some of the types of things that we'll be discussing and we'll be going through, we want to make sure that everybody understands that there are some content warnings when it comes to this show. Now, the show is a mature channel. And so that is something that you'll just sort of have to work with. If that is not your type of show, then what I would recommend you do is consider tuning out now, because things are going to get real interesting and likely fairly scary. At least we hope. So that being said, the other thing that I want to bring your attention to specifically is that, much as Abel's player Ramos mentioned, is we will be having some interactivity when it comes to, we'll just say, the 8-legged variety. Okay. So because we're going to be having some interactivity with the 8-legged variety, you need to know that, if you're not a fan of spiders, this might not be the stream for you. I'm really struggling to move this in real time and still keep it up, but that's okay, because I'm going to keep working at it. As I mentioned at the top of the show, my name is Michael Diamond, and I run the Old Ways podcast and Old Ways Entertainment, although evidently not terribly great on Twitch, but that's okay. I promise we will get better at it as we go. There, look, I got a move done, and I got another move done, and we should be good now. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
For your patience. Okay. So let me give you a little bit of recap. Our three Accursed are part of a group, part of a crew, really. One that formed out of a volcanic situation, so to speak, that happened in downtown Chicago. The details of which are mostly in episode 1. But the long and short of it is this. They left a rather high-dollar banquet and benefit event for a healthcare customer. And they did so under some fairly suspicious circumstances. Celine, played by Morgan, was accosted by a group of Chicago gang members of the 77s. And in doing so, a small fight broke out, and then a small firefight broke out afterwards. And then a fire broke out. And the group decided the best thing to do would be to flee. And it turns out they might be right. Driving a far distance away from the downtown area of Chicago, they headed north. And they headed north in a car that wasn't theirs. But that doesn't really matter to our story at the moment. Unfortunately, that car ran a little low on gas. And when it did, they were forced to pull over at this gas station, truck stop in the middle of nowhere and fill up. And the plan was to just grab snacks and hit the door. And I wonder, Pesto, could you give us Evie's perception of what happened next?
Just a lovely, delightful meeting with a fellow named Bobby in the bathroom.
Yeah, Bobby. We didn't even know him well. Maybe he doesn't even matter to our part of the story now, but you made use of Bobby. I think that's the best way to put it for everyone. But seemingly when the group finally decided that it might be a good idea to take off, they had met a couple of people inside the gas station. Morgan, from Celine's perspective, what was the most interesting person you met?
Oh, probably Rose. Because not only did she appear in the gas station, but at the same time, she was also at home. So I don't know what. Is her name really Rose?
Great question.
I met somebody in the bathroom that was very interesting too. His name was Travis.
It was. So Rose is a young girl, probably in the 13 to 14-year-old range. And I think that might be the creepiest thing so far that Abel had to deal with. Right, Ramos? You had a thing
I'm
about
inclined to agree.
young kids maybe not feeling it.
Yeah, no, specifically, especially young kids that quote the Bible at him, reference his name, Abel, and tell him that he's dead. There's just a lot of warning signs that kids can give off. And this kid was just flashing, just nonstop, a siren of warning signs.
Yeah, a whole host of red flags. And that was the fun part. Our story picked up along the way, and some investigation into this gas station that just didn't seem to fit continued on. And unfortunately, it seems our Cursed might have walked into the wrong gas station, because walking out became difficult, and then walking back in totally turned the tables on everything. It was as if they had floated back into time, into the mid to late 80s. And they'd seen some things and asked some questions. And then they began hunting for answers. And that hunt led them to a strange door inside of a supply closet, which is where our story picks up now. So, Celine, you and Abel and Evie are outside this door, and you've worked to wrench it open. And as you wrench it open, you see there's a depth within those stairs that go down. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of light down there. The light from the supply closet, this amber bulb that gives off about maybe 60 to 70% of what you were hoping to get, it doesn't really get past maybe the third or fourth stair. And these stairs are low, they're cramped.
Are we going down?
I mean, is that the not a stupid question because there's no wise decision here. I mean, is that the is that what we're all in agreement for, or
I think it is the way to go, I guess. If we want to get to the bottom of whatever is happening here, we got to go down.
Well, we're in a gas station. I'm sure they have flashlights or something in this gas station.
Or flannable clothing, whichever.
What,
yeah?
maybe?
I'll go grab some flashlights. I'll try not to make eye contact with the attendant. We'll see if he's amenable to me just grabbing his shit.
Well, if you see somebody named Travis out there, um, let them know I enjoyed our bathroom experience together.
Aw.
Both of you are a mess. You know that? Both of you are a mess.
You're the one hanging out with us. What does that say about you?
Good point. And I will go get flashlights if I can find them.
So there's a couple of options for you. There are flashlights that you could buy that are here, right? They even have a select amount of batteries. I'd say there's two flashlights likely, right? There's a Camp Coleman style small hand lantern that takes the big battery, right? And then there are likely smaller versions of that flashlight that are simple hand flashlights that take the C cells that most people are used to.
Uh, Probably the latter option, honestly, just to keep things simple, I suppose.
Okay. So what's the plan for Abel then? Is he going to go to the counter with them, buy them, and then return? Or are you going to use another methodology to acquire them?
Let me check if I have anything in. I don't think I'm equipped to commit crime, actually.
I don't
Uh,
believe that. You're a Curseborne. You're always prepared to commit crime.
I'm super prepared to commit crime. We're gonna commit crime about it.
How would you like to do that?
Uh, he's so Abel's wearing very um I won't say simple clothing, but he's wearing what you see here. This is a grappa. It's like a poncho almost. It's just one single garment, and it's very easy. There's not really like pockets or anything like that. You have pockets obviously underneath your in your on your pants or anything like that. Um, but it's very easy to kind of tuck your arms in and hold things to your chest or to stick it in your waistband. And since it's a loose fitting piece of clothing, um, it doesn't really show form or figure. So he's gonna grab uh he's gonna grab he's gonna grab the flashlights and just kind of tuck them in his waistband and try to just maneuver back and try to be all real slick and pickpockety about it.
I love that for you and for our story. Okay. So, what I'm going to ask him to do is I'm going to ask him to make a, I'll say, I'll give you the option either dexterity larceny or cunning larceny is fine too. I think it really depends on the way you approach it. If the idea is that you're going to exact a very quick 5-finger discount, then certainly dexterity. Or if you're going to sort of wait out until the guy behind the counter is counting change for one of the people who came in to buy gas or something, then certainly cunning is fine too.
I think I'm gonna go with dexterity just to be quick about it. I don't imagine that Celine and Evie are gonna be patiently waiting for me. So, and I truly cannot trust them alone.
You don't think that Selene and Evie would patiently wait for you? I mean,
Absolutely not.
one of them might wait for you to patiently bleed out, but that's a different story.
Yeah. That
Especially if they're
is
hungry.
indeed. That is very true. What am I sitting at for curse die? All right, we're not doing too bad. This is fine. Excellent. Remind me again, what did we determine happens on the tens?
So tens count as 2, and
Excellent.
ones only are problematic if you have no successes.
Gotcha. That will be 3 successes.
Okay. So in Curseborne, we have the opportunity with some of our skills to buy specific hits on specific things. Oh, look at that. It's Onyx Path rating with a party of 13 or 11 or either way. Thanks for rating us. We appreciate it. We're actually playing, amazingly enough, Curseborne. Of course, you probably all knew that. Alrighty. So yeah, 3 successes. It doesn't take you terribly long to sort of walk the back of the aisle. It takes you a second to size up where the flashlights and the batteries are. And then you make a loop around the little Debbie rack, and then suddenly you're back towards it again. You scoop up what you need, seemingly with just 2 hands, which is frankly a feat for someone like you.
Indeed.
And you can head back to the supply closet.
Yeah, no reason to linger. He'll make his way back to his companions.
Okay. You are all 3 again inside the supply closet. And it looks like Abel has returned with a bunch of multicolored flashlights and like 2 or 3 packs of batteries.
I come bearing gifts.
Oh, thank you, sweetie.
Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
It's,
No, the guy at
no.
the front counter thinks we're a couple.
oh, I
Looking
see
for our
it.
daughter.
I ship it. I
Mm.
grab one of the flashlights and a pack of batteries.
I open the pack of batteries with my teeth.
Yeah, pretty easy for you to do with those choppers.
I mean, he should make you roll for that.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't need to make the battery roll to see if their teeth are in good working order. We all know that they will be.
I floss.
It's actually probably just a little. There's probably something able about Evie using her teeth to open like hard plastic battery containers. That's just a little. All right. Yep.
Yeah. A little much, a little unsettling. Just
Slightly. Yeah.
yeah, just I didn't grab scissors. Do you mind if would you
Oh, by all
cool.
means, yeah.
Yep, utility. We're gonna ignore that.
With your flashlights loaded full of batteries, you can approach the stairs now, knowing that clearly justice and safety come from, well, a couple of C-cell batteries. You flick them on, and you get a little bit more light down the stairs. You've never heard of a gas station having a basement, let alone one with such a strange and rickety stair. But there you are. You can see past the fourth stair now. You can see all the way to, you think that's a landing. It's probably another 6 or 8 stairs that you can see down. You see a wood platform at the end of the stairs. It's coated with just a slight bit of reflective, maybe tape, maybe something to indicate that it's a landing. You don't see any light switches or any sort of outlets along the way either. I just need to know who's going first.
I kind of want to. I want to have my relic knife sort of in hand, or at least I think in my pocket. And I'll go in. I want to throw a dinner roll down the stairs first, I think.
Okay. You chuck a dinner roll down the stairs and you hear it sort of plop 2 or 3 times before it hits the landing and then the far wall, which seems to be made of rough stone.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I'll walk down the stairs then.
Okay. You walk down the stairs one by one, each one kind of singing its own specific song of time and age. With each step, you get a new, fresh, and different scent. And so there's a real earthiness down here too, which, frankly, you love. It plays very well to the family. It's not unheard of for you and your kin, so to speak, to hang out in spaces that are a little earthy. The second smell is fried chicken grease. And that's the scent that you've smelled often since you've been here, right? A couple more stairs and you pick up something coppery. And it sets your arms all full of goosebumps. And you feel that seemingly dead heart inside your chest begin to beat. You smell what must be blood. It's as if someone was rolling out the red carpet for you.
I'll let the others know, like, come on down, the water's fine.
Yeah, I follow. I have my hot dog poker still.
You do still have your hot dog poker. You are also, just so that the audience is aware, so in case they forgot, you are also in a black evening dress.
I am.
You're wearing heels. Yes?
I might have taken those off. You know, they probably would have been flatter. So I'm probably still wearing them. Yeah. Nope, still wearing them.
Okay. So there's no handrail. So you are being cautious as you walk down into whatever this is. You can see Evie in front of you, and Evie reached the landing, and you really get the first sort of full look and vantage point of what's down here. And it isn't at all what you were expecting, but that's sort of par for the course. So the space down here seems to be made of mostly wood. There's wood walkways. There's wood walls that seem to be set up in a temporary station. So they might be lightly screwed into the flooring or other sections of the wall itself. It's almost like whatever structure has been put together down here is temporary or unfinished. But the one thing you do notice across the center portion of this hallway what will become a hallway when you step into it, is there is a heavy red smear of fluid, as if a body has been drugged through it.
Well, this looks like your kind of party.
Oh, you know it.
Are you sure you don't know anybody here?
Yes, sure.
Abel,
Are
are
you?
you coming down the stairs?
Yeah, he's making a point to just kind of be last at this point, though.
Okay. You make it about 3/4 of the way down the stairs before the door to the stairway slams hard shut. And it bangs hard enough that it shakes the staircase that you're standing on. And there's an echo that rides all the way down through this space.
What was that?
No idea.
Why is slamming the door? They're going to hear us up there.
I think that's the least of our concerns, but all right. I will keep an eye on things better, I suppose.
Okay.
Good.
Evie, you are first down. Are you continuing forward?
Yeah.
Okay. So continuing forward, there's an awful lot of Polaroids on the wall to your left and to your right. And you'd remember seeing through the archway that leads back here on when you're in the gas station proper, that you passed through an arch that had a bunch of Polaroids attached to it, names, dates, etc. You remember seeing pictures of like when the gas station was founded, and a picture of the guy who opened the chicken stand that eventually became such this prolific eatery that people came from miles around to eat at it. And along the walls, there's 4 or 5 of these Polaroids that sort of jump out at you. One is a young blonde woman, and it pricks your memory because you remember seeing her upstairs earlier. And she's with a dark-haired man with sunglasses. This is a photo that is probably circa 80s time frame. It's hard to place, right? So it's a little bit yellowed with age. But you definitely see her. There's a Polaroid on the wall of it. The second picture is of the gentleman at the attendance counter. So the cashier that was there waiting on you earlier. So that would be Jerry. He's wearing a trucker hat, and it says FH Trucking on it. He looks about 10 years or so younger than the guy you met upstairs. You going to keep going?
No, I think I'll investigate the Polaroids a little closer while I wait for my companions.
Okay. You are finding this, Celine, you are finding this a little difficult to navigate physically. The heels are not helping you here. And so for any physical actions while you're wearing them, you're going to pick up a minor complication just because they're not meant for what are in effect plywood floors.
Can I take them off?
Well, certainly they're not strapped to you
they're
are
just
permanently. So,
Yep, I slip them on, or slip them on. I slip them off. Throw them the rest of the way down the stairs.
okay.
And then to help myself navigate better, I am going to rip up both sides of my dress.
Mhm.
So they're more like a slit all the way up both. So then
Okay.
I can, in case I need to do anything physical, they will not constrain me.
Sure. Yeah. So that is something Evie and even would hear, and Abel would definitely see. Celine makes herself comfortable, and it really doesn't. It really doesn't bother you until you get to the landing and you see like the tossed dinner roll that's there. Um, but the dinner roll is only part of the problem. The turn to the hallway and seeing just with your flashlight what's there. The floor that you'll need to walk on will be quite dirty. Blood, other fluids seem to have been streaked through this hallway.
Ew.
Yeah,
Well,
this is kind of gross.
yeah, I'll go through barefoot.
Okay. Your toes squish a little bit in the fluid. You can feel them stick together, try to separate.
It was like that time I got, at the spa, they did the hot mud baths, or yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, certainly. The mud's probably a little thicker than this stuff is. You're not really certain what's in it, but you're focused. And it wouldn't be the first time you've probably, well, gotten messy.
No.
So investigating the Polaroids, Evie, the third Polaroid is sort of interesting from a family sense. So you see someone you know. You see a man named William, who absolutely is part of your extended family.
I'm going to take that Polaroid down.
William Dubois, a man from France, from Lyon, who in his vaunted history is likely one of the most powerful undead that you've come across. His soirees are something that are, well, pretty epic. And this photograph is highly incriminating for multiple reasons. It shows William in a very typical Bathory setting. He is feasting on multiple targets. He sort of has the upper and lower body of what you think are different people in the left and the right hand side. And you see him in his element. And that is not something that should ever be seen, unless, of course, the victims are, well, dealt with afterwards. You pick it up. Abel, you get to the bottom of the stairs.
How are we all feeling?
Delightful.
Did I
She got
see
there.
Evie? Yeah, is Evie still holding the photo? Sorry,
Yeah, she's probably holding the photo, or has just like, I can't for the life of me honestly like remember what Evie was wearing. But you got pockets?
I do not.
Okay. So I'd like to know where you're putting that photograph.
Where everybody puts their photographs in their bra.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so that's probably something you would key in on, Celine. You know that move. So yeah, she's tucking something in, either that or she's trying to get the girls right. One of the two. But yeah,
I've
it's
been
there.
there. Well, it's not like I'm gonna grab down there to get it. So
No,
I mean-
if he
but
doesn't want to share, it's okay.
it's just something that you can make note of. Abel, when you get down to this space here, you smell burning leaves.
It's, that's interesting. You guys smell that?
No,
Neither of you smell the same thing.
It
No.
smells like burning foliage, like leaves caught in a fire. You guys really don't smell that? It's pretty overpowering.
No, I've still got copper in my nostrils.
It's a normal problem for you, isn't it?
It's a delightful one, yeah. So what does burning leaves mean for you?
Not much, honestly. Not a anything special to me. But you guys really don't smell
I do not.
it. Very cool. Very cool.
Um, as you come upon this space, Celine, with the pictures, you notice there's a picture on the right-hand side that you pick out. You know that person. And you know that person because you've done business with them before. His name is Terry Gettle. And he works in InfoSec and IT information. And he's, I think the nicest way to say it would be, corrected some of the records that you've had to deal with on the healthcare side for your benefit, clearly. But this picture is either old or photo manipulated in some way, because his spine is being pulled out.
And I just talked to him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and it looks like the person that took the picture took it from an angle where you can see his face contorted in just this painful and undesirable mask that will likely always stick with you. And the hand, if that's what you can call it, that has a grip on his spine is muscular and brown, and its fingers are super thick. And it is pulling his spine back as if it's a bowstring.
But the photo looks older.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it's from the 80s. It's a Polaroid. All these photos are Polaroids.
Just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I'll grab that photo down and also put it in my bra because I'm not carrying anything.
Okay. Fair enough. For you, Abel, when you get to the photo area here, you don't see anybody you know. There are no touchstones here for you, it seems. But the smell, the leaves smell, is getting stronger. In fact, you're starting to now see on the top of the ceiling just tiny little puffs and lines of blackened smoke.
Do I see a source or like a cause for the any, like, is there any flames or anything nearby?
No, you don't
Just
see
see
any.
the smoke?
You don't see any flames. The hallway goes further back, and then it curves a little bit, and so it's possible it's coming from there. It's certainly not coming from here. You don't smell or hear like the crackling of wood. So, and there's no heat.
This is we need to move on. Do you guys tell me you guys see that though, and I'll point out the whiffs of smoke.
Do we see it? We don't see it, right?
So when he points it out, you turn your flashlight up and you can see the tiniest little trail of black smoke that curls along the side of the just right in the corner of where the wall and the ceiling meet. And that's when you start smelling burning leaves.
not crazy, Abel. I can kind of get a hint of what you were smelling earlier.
Well, it's good to know, and it's good to confirm that I'm not losing my shit. It's real good. Um, I don't know how to take the smile along with along with your statement, but
No, I'm happy for you.
mm, hmm I think we should probably keep going. Yeah, lingering is not going to help us here.
Do we need to
Unless you
run
guys
back
want
for
to.
like a glass of water first or anything?
I'm good. Are you guys good? How are you? I'll look at Celine's feet. How are you holding up?
It's just like getting them massaged.
Gross. All right, very cool. Yeah. I unless you guys want to keep gawking at pictures, I don't know. You see anybody interesting or
Fuck it. I take out the photo and I'm like, look, this dude is a powerful badass undead that I know. His name's William Dubois. I just kind of feel like I'm getting messed with a little bit, so I guess I'll share. Since we're in the shit now, it seems like. So there,
blah?
I recognize somebody. Yeah.
Cool. Why? I don't know why the attitude. I mean, we're all in this together, right? You gotta. Or you
Yeah.
just grumpy because one of your kind is here and kind of getting a one up on you.
Yeah. Yeah, you get me.
I don't take that either. So this dude is he? You met him or?
He's part of extended family. I know
So
that
not
he's
like
a.
a personal.
I don't believe so. No. I mean, I wouldn't consider it personal. He's just kind of there. Come across him every now and then. Hear rumors about him every now and then. Eesh,
But no
looks like
like
a
special
jerk.
connection, no reason to think he would put you in a situation like this.
I mean, it's really foolish of him to try if he did.
We never talked about like, as you just said, like he's this powerful badass. We never really talked about like who you are in your community. Where do
Hmm.
you rate amongst the badasses?
I'm top tier. And then I walk away.
You walk away further down the hallway.
Yeah, didn't mean anything by it. I'm looking at Celine and just was curious. Is that the wrong thing to ask?
Some people don't want to divulge their past, their family lineage, who they might eat on the weekend. I don't think
No,
Evie's an open book.
yeah, I'm gathering that. I don't judge, but whatever. But you see anybody you know? You had anything stashed away?
Yeah, I pulled a folded photo out. It,
Yeah, it's
I mean, I'm
real
not a,
handy.
yeah. Don't you wish you had some so you could stick photos in there too, Abel?
I got enough hands. I'll be all right.
Um, yeah, this is Terry. He's my IT guy. He helps scrub records when, Judge so and so might have an STD he doesn't want the missus to know about. Although she shouldn't be looking at his chart anyways. But, scrubbing charts. But yeah,
Hmm.
but I just talked to him a couple weeks ago. He was alive in this photo. Clearly looks older than a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So when she describes sort of what he does, to you, Abel, you know people like Terry. Maybe not Terry directly, but you know what those people do. He's somebody who finds information. He's somebody who cleans information. And maybe if you get out of this, he could be a pretty important contact for you. That is, if his spine's intact.
Yeah, Terry's still. I mean, from everything you say, Terry's still alive, right?
Well, yeah, talked to him a couple weeks ago. There were some pictures from a party that somebody important didn't want to get out, and now they owe me a favor.
Hmm. All right. Well, I mean, if we get out of this, I'd love to meet him.
So, Evie, you stepped ahead of them for maybe a minute or so. This walking path, this hallway continues to curve a little bit. It isn't irregular, actually. The curve is very purposeful, which is, again, a little strange given the fact that you're beneath a gas station. The world down here doesn't look anything like the one up there. There are no lights other than your flashlights. And so the darkness sort of surrounds you as you've moved forward. And the smell of those burning leaves continues to get stronger. And about the time the conversation behind you dims, you hear what sounds like the crackle of a fire. And the moan of a male, perhaps a male voice. And it's not pain. It's not that kind of moan.
I knew we needed a glass of water. Evie's going to slide as close to the wall as possible. And when she starts to hear that moan, she's going to stop and wait and just listen. And then that way, when she sees her companions come around, signal them to be quiet.
Oh, yeah. You stay quiet. 3 or 4 other different tones come out of that space ahead. There are feminine moans. There are ones you cannot quite possibly place. There's definitely something going on in this space ahead. And this fire continues to crackle. And then there are other scents that arrive on the air. Perhaps they're herbs. There's something adding to that. And it kind of reminds you of Thanksgiving. There's a sense there that remind you of stuffing, and perhaps that's pumpkin. It's hard to place. Your compatriots arrive shortly thereafter. So are you like crouched down, or you stopped and held up against the wall? How are you positioning yourself?
Yeah, I think I would be crouched down, not fully on the ground, just sort of knelt down. That way I can shoot back up if I need to. But I think this is like a good universal signal to we need to be quiet and we need to be low.
Okay. Evie, you see Celine and Abel walk up. See their flashlights ahead.
Do we see the light from the fire? I mean, like the...
Not just yet.
Okay.
You definitely smell the smoke, and when you arrive on where Evie's at, you hear the crackle of a fire.
I turn off my flashlight.
It gets a little darker.
I will do the same. Just kind of, well, I won't turn it off per se. I'll just kind of like cover it with the cloth.
Your fingers, at least on this hand, glow a little red, orange as they cover the light. The two of you who are new on the scene begin hearing moans, people moan.
Not like hurt moan.
No, not hurt moan. That's the best way to say it.
Like passionate, maybe.
I don't know that I would say passionate. I would just say
Enjoying themselves.
it does not sound like a negative thing.
Yeah.
And the extra little bit for Abel, given your ability to perceive things, would be you smell cooked food.
Do you guys smell that?
A little, yeah.
I mean, I also moan when I eat something good. So
Understand this place.
Do we keep going, or you guys want to go back up? Because I don't want to be part of this meal.
I mean, we fucking. There's nothing else up there. We can't. There's nothing fucking. We fucking exhausted all our resources up there. We have to go forward.
Okay. I will follow your lead then.
Oh, all right. I will take the lead.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
You step forward and continue moving with just the glow of the flashlight on your fingers. And you begin to pick up tiny little bits of illumination, which grows as you get closer. This hallway straightens out, and you come upon a rather strange scene. There is a large room here. I'd say it's probably 20 by 20. Made up of very similar looking architecture as the hallways, although the plywood, if that's what it is in here, is maybe got wallpaper on it, something. On one end of the room, there is a rather large and almost foundational fireplace. It's made of a collection of different colored hewn stones, big grays and whites, and perhaps a few darker colored stones. In the center of the room, there is a table, and it's quite large, dominates the room and the space, but only so much so that it has to give way to the four occupants of this room, who are enormous in their own right. And so what you end up coming upon there is four individuals who have shed any semblance of clothing, likely because they have eaten themselves out of sizing, as their enormous and rather bulbous bodies weigh heavily on these, frankly, tiny chairs by comparison. The food at the table is a collection of different types of meat. I think that's probably the nicest way to say it. This meat has been cooked, at least most of the way. and they are gorging themselves in a rather nonstop fashion at each of these pieces, sometimes tearing clean the outer fried skin and crunching it down to reveal any manner of underlayments of fat and muscle, which they rip apart with jagged teeth. The beings themselves, these rather large creatures, they have humanoid faces. And so they have two eyes, they have a nose and a mouth, but they're all in this sort of rigorous and rigor set posture. So they're swollen, and so you're not really sure what they see. Their faces are desperately swollen and red as they eat and eat. You do see also on the other side of this scene, there is a continuance to the hallway of passageway.
All right. How do we like our odds here?
I mean, if we sneak past them, I don't think they're fast enough to do anything to us. Possibly. I don't know. How does Celine feel?
My hot dog poker isn't going to do a whole lot against those things right there.
No.
Well, maybe we don't have to poke them if we're just nimble enough to glide on by.
Maybe. Is that the move? Is that what we want to try first? Because I've got a backup plan, but I don't think anyone's gonna like it.
Ooh, tell me.
I can call some friends for backup.
Is that before or after we try to sleek on by?
Whatever you guys want to do. I think that if we call them before, then it'll just be it might make things easier. It might make it a little bit more simple to move by. They'll be a little bit distracted with them.
Well, this sounds fun.
Your guys' ideas are fun. All right. Then I mean, you guys will see the signal when it's ready then. And I'm gonna step up and use Master of Beasts.
Okay. So if you would, walk us through what Master of Beasts is for the primal that you're playing.
Yeah, so as previously mentioned, Abel is of the eight hands, an ocho. Um, and the Master of Beasts, the cost is bleeding to curse die. Um, and I will call forth a swarm of local creatures to attack my targets. The swarm gains the fright template and gains clingy, feral, and natural weapons. Um, clingy being aggressive and slash defensive, or combat defensive, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Feral and natural weapons. Natural weapons being a stinger or poisoned qualities that remain until the end of the scene. Um, I'm hoping to call friends of the eight-legged variety, a swarm of spiders.
Fascinating. Fascinating. And that is going to cost you 2 Curseborne dice that you have to bleed?
Yeah.
Okay, so totally fine. My question is that are you left with any Curseborne dice afterwards?
I am not. Is that an issue?
Well, we're going to talk about that. So the way primal work is they have a damnation. So you're a predator. You might be a predator that hangs out in the inky black darkness and waits for prey to come your way. But you're a predator. And so you feel that urge. Um, and when you feel that urge, you have to sort of succumb to it. So your damnation means that any time your curse pool reaches zero, you have sort of this need to exert themselves as a force of nature. So when you bleed that out to call your spiders, you're kind of gonna go with it. You're gonna shift into your wild form, and you're gonna suffer a minor complication on all actions, and if not bought off, um, well, you might not necessarily go after the target you want. Because being a primal means that you are a killer in one way or the other. And so you can't gain curse dice until this is resolved. You just have to you have to express your elemental nature. So the tag part of this, right? Part of their damnation, the resolution is you have to complete an action that imposes an aggravated wound. The aggravated wound, bleeding, destroyed, reputation, taken out, or terrified status effect. So once you do that, you can get basically you can relieve the damnation, right? If the action you take inconveniences you or one of your crew, you gain a curse die or momentum after taking the action. So
Understood.
That's going to happen to you. So I'm going to give you your spider army. Enjoy.
Hell yeah. Okay.
On top of the spider army that you're going to get, you're going to be the head honcho of it. And that means that you get to describe for our audience and your fellow crew members what happens when you go full on primal.
Excellent. I will I because we're kind of hidden away currently at the moment, right? We're kind of tucked behind so they can't see
Yeah.
us.
So like imagine there's about 8 to 10 feet before you actually go into the room. But because of the way the door sits, you can see this whole shebang, so to speak, from this spot. Oh, yeah, I should say you can see most of the people in that room because, well, their bodies are so big that they don't all fit in your field of view.
Yeah. I think before he calls on the arachnids, he's going to as he said, you guys will know the signal. And he says, the moment you can, run. And I will approach the door and sort of just kick it in and walk in. And as I'm sorry, look, you had something.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, there's no door here. It's an open doorway. You don't
Oh,
have to kick
perfect,
anything
perfect,
in.
perfect. Yeah, we'll walk through, and as I do, we'll begin to shift and change. The previously unseen arms will emerge from beneath the grappe. Fingers kind of elongating into strange, like bristly, almost talons. Um, the skull down the beard in the middle will split into the two like pincers
Mm-hmm.
of the arachnid. Um, Several eyes begin to kind of open and blacken. Um, yeah, the hair kind of becomes a little bit more coarse rather than just flowing like hair. It's the strange bristles of, when you pet a tarantula. Um, it's not great looking. He's kind of drooling, or maybe it's sort of venom or like a poison of some sort. Um, and he kind of just lets out like this weird like shrill hiss, and as the spiders kind of emerge from all corners, he kind of crouches down and begins to like a trapdoor spider without the trapdoor. They leap and grab and kind of pull back, and he's gonna try to leap at the closest one, uh, and begin tearing into him.
Okay. You leap forward, right? The signal does come, Evie. The signal does come to you and Celine there. And the signal is what sounds like the pitter patter of a ton of tiny little feet. And it comes from behind you. And then it takes over your position. All of these multi-faceted eye, 8-legged creatures, mostly arachnids, form a sort of wave that take over your position. They're anything from, like a dime size to maybe a nickel to some that are large as $50. And then there's some that are dinner plate size. And Celine, given that you're not wearing any shoes, you get quite the experience of all of these tiny fibrous hairs that rub over your feet and up your ankles as they move their way past you and through you. None of them stop to say hello, so to speak. It really is kind of like the worst massage that you've had recently. But whatever Abel called certainly answered. So, Abel, I would love for you to give me a roll for you to go all sorts of, close combat on these things. I think this is an absolute fabulous use of might and close combat.
Absolutely.
And so we'll sort of dive a little bit into the combat system in Curseborne, which is given to us by the story path system. We'll see if we can get some of this right. This is our first actual combat. So if we get it right, great. If not, we'll try it again and try it again. So as any challenge is in Curseborne, it's going to be difficulty 8. And so you'll just go ahead and roll your skill plus your ability, and then let me know. Is there, for your primal form, do you have any automatic enhancements that happen when you're in that form?
It doesn't appear so. No, I don't believe I do.
Okay, so that's okay, because what I'm going to do is I am going to give you one, and that is that you're going to get a 1-point enhancement because your target is considered dazed. So you'll roll, and you'll already have one point enhancement. So 1 success technically already before you roll.
Excellent. That helps. I rolled a single 10, so that would be 3 total with that enhancement.
Okay, so 3 total. So we'll go through and determine the level of success, which for this 3 is a challenging. That's sort of the level of difficulty that you succeeded on. And then when we get to combat, we have the ability to potentially buy tricks or buy effects. We have the ability to buy effects with our successes. Because your target, unfortunately, can't really dodge or get out of the way at this point. So because this is melee combat, you have the ability to do a couple of things. I guess with 3 hits, you'd have the ability to do additional damage. You could buy a critical if you wanted to. You're not really technically meleeing, although I suppose claws or bite would sort of be like a weapon. I'd be fine with that. You could seize. You could attempt to knock them down. I guess the question is, and of course, as always, you could take your hits and sort of add to damage that way.
I think just buying a critical is probably the most beneficial. He's just going to leap on him and Yeah, bite and tear and stab and just be on them.
Sure. Okay. So let's see here. That hopefully will be a little bit more useful when I check this. We're going to get an ad here in about a minute or so. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, then this is an opportune time to do so. The Old Ways has been doing a lot of additional streaming, not just our Shadowrun stuff. We got more stuff planned coming. So if you're a fan of what we do now, it'd be a great time to do that. It would buy off the ad and you can watch me blunder about the combat section. Okay. Each damage the character suffers ticks off a single injury box. For player characters, injuries are separated into 4 injury levels: bloodied, wounded, maimed. And then bloody, wounded, maimed, and then near death. That does not sound helpful. So I'm trying to find out specifically, like, yes, you bought a critical. What does it do? It just says deal an additional damage to your target. Okay, so if every attack deals a single level of damage, then you'll be doing 2 levels of damage to this creature. That seems to make sense to me. All right. Okay, so you rip into this being that you're closest to. And when you rip into them, you do so with like the tiny little claws that are on some of your feet. You can sort of get out. But really the meat of the damage that's done is done by your mouth, which has just this enormous pair of mandibles on it. And when you bite down, there is a gout that comes out of this creature. Imagine taking a really thick balloon and puncturing one side of it. There is a geyser of this foul smelling, just disgusting fluid that comes out of it. It's not even blood. It's something else. And it gets all over the place. And this massive bloated creature begins to just groan and writhe back and forth. And it, in the moments with your thrashing, you're not even sure it's stopping eating. It's desperate to eat more. That's great. Chat says we got to add for Jersey Mike's. I hope we did. That's great.
I hate that so much.
So this just enormous, geyser of fluid goes off, and I will give, because you're a little busy in your whole primal rage portion, Abel, I'm going to give Evie and Celine an opportunity to roll a perception-based skill and linked ability and tell me if they get a few hits to see what else is going on beyond the spider army attacking.
Go ahead, Evie.
Thank you, Celine. A perception-based skill, huh?
Yep. So if I look over your character sheet, Evie, I would say that given you could do intellect and
right.
Man, that's tough.
And nothing else.
That is tough.
Just intellect.
Culture.
No, not culture.
Survival.
I would give you esoterica because of the nature of what you're looking at.
Oh, that's fun. And if I remember correctly, I have 3 cursed dice. Am I just rolling then 2 cursed dice?
No, you'll roll all 3 curse dice.
Oh, okay.
You got to roll them. They're in your pattern.
Oh, fun.
Uh-huh.
Okay. This feels new. Pardon me. I'm going to mute so it's not so loud. Got 2 6s and a 10.
Okay. So the 10 is 2 successes.
Okay.
You see in the hallway beyond this scene, you see a few robed figures in that hallway. They're burlap colored cloaks with hoods, and they seem to be carting in something. You're not sure what it is. And then, Celine, did you not get any hits?
Well, I'm rolling a cursed die in place of one of my dice, right?
You are.
Okay.
Anytime you have cursed dice, you're rolling them with your total.
I got 3 successes.
Fabulous. So you see that, and then you also see what's on the cart. It's more food. And this is distinctly food which appears to be body parts.
Wonderful.
These 2 figures have noticed what Abel is doing, and they appear to be like dropping the cart and running.
Like towards us?
No, away from you.
us? Okay, good.
They want nothing to do with Abel and his spider army. Seemingly.
Fair.
I mean, I look at Celine, looked at the robed figures, like, do you wanna?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Abel's busy.
You're going to go after him?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need somebody to tell us what's going on.
Okay. So if you're going to pursue them, then you will need to make me a dexterity and some gymnastics or physical ability that you might have. I would allow for stuff like survival or close combat because you will be moving through a space where there is combat going on.
Like no larceny or anything.
Larceny. You have athletics, yeah?
With a big fat 0 in it. I didn't think I was going to be doing a whole lot of physical stuff. It was an available skill to me, and I'm more sexy than not, and okay.
In my household, we call that born to lounge.
I like that. Born to lounge. Well, born to lounge or not, you're gonna have to make a roll for it because even though you are sexy, you'll be walking across a some sort of strange fluid filled spider filled floor, and to catch up with them you'll need to potentially do that. You also have you bought off the complication effectively when it comes to the dress shoes, so at least you don't have to worry about that.
But I would just roll straight dex then.
You would.
Okay.
You don't really have an applicable skill, but you at least get a roll, and you want to make sure you roll your curse dice with part of that pool.
Yeah, 1.
Okay. You're able to get around Abel in his form, and you're able to move through most of the space. You're still dodging spiders on the floor. You're still trying to keep from slipping. You really don't want to fall on this floor, given everything that's on it. And then Pesto, how did Evie do?
Target's 8, right?
Oh yeah.
That's great. No successes and a 1 on my curse die.
Oh yeah. Oh, we do like that. I was hoping that something like that would be fun, and we would see. So curse dice are sort of the powerful dice in Curseborne. The ability for our characters or our curse to use some of their powers comes from the use of curse dice. And in doing so, they can do all sorts of things with them. So when they roll really well, they get these things called wicked successes with their curse dice. Um, in this case, Evie gets what's called a cruel failure. So you move through the room. You try on the left-hand side. You try on the left-hand side specifically because Celine is moving around the right side of the room, and you don't want to get bottled up with what she's doing. And because you're also trying to evade a bunch of these spiders on the floor, you don't see, well, a piece of meat on the floor. And your foot goes right under that butt cheek. And you tumble forward and you fall forward off balance and into the waiting lap of one of these creatures that are feeding at the table. And its first reaction is to grab for you. And so I'm going to roll some dice over here for this wonderful little creature. And we'll see if it can get its hands on you. I'm sure it'll be all fine. Okay. So let's refer back to our combat section. It's not that you won't get an opportunity to defend yourself. You will. But because of the cruel failure, I am going to put you at a medium complication for this roll that you'll make. And the reason why is because you're frankly just a little out of sorts at this point. Okay. So what you are going to do is you are going to make me a defense roll. And so you have a pretty good close combat. Let's see here. A character's defense sets the difficulty of the roll. The character's defense always starts at 1, which I've overcome, so you do get hit. When a character is attacked, she may take a defensive action using stamina. So you could use stamina. The difficulty of a defensive action is 0 unless specified, meaning you can always take a defensive action. Each hit garnered from a defensive action can be used to purchase defensive tricks, which is what you're going to hope to do with the dice that you have. So you will roll your defense and tell me how many hits you get.
Got it. So my defense is just stamina, or is it stamina and
It looks like
plus?
it appears like it's just stamina.
Okay, got it.
You can do full defensive next round when it's your action, and then you would get twice your stamina. Really what you're looking for is like enough hits to buy off the complication and then apply your ability to potentially roll away or sidestep.
I believe I have 3 successes, so 1, 8, and a 10.
1, 8, and a 10. Okay, so minor, moderate complication given the cruel, the cruel way that the Curseborne dice fell on you. So that would be 2 to buy that away. You'd have 1 hit left, and that's not going to beat the number of hits that they have on you.
Okay.
So they're going to spend for a grapple ability, and they are going to grab hold of you. It's called seize. And so they'll grab you up and then hopefully get an opportunity to snack on you next round. I want to go to Abel really quick because he last round feasted. What did you want your spider army to do?
Was hoping to have them swarm the individuals. They wouldn't. They would be too distracted by the spiders to go after my companions or myself whenever we fleed. Yeah, just to swarm, bite, uh, use their little pincers.
Okay. I like that. So they arrive, and what they will do is they will provide they'll provide effectively a systematic complication for the group of these creatures in any action they're trying to do other than basically get them off. So that will essentially require more successes to do anything. That will take effect in the next round also on the one that has Evie. So it'll be a little harder for them to fit parts of her in their mouth if their mouth is full of fuzzy spiders. All that said, I'd love to know if Celine is going to do anything other than to keep going after these creatures, these beings in robes.
Oh no, I'm going to keep on going after the creatures in robes.
I love that for you. Okay. So I think we're at a good point. So what I'm going to tell our audience is we're going to take a short bio break. I'm going to encourage you to do the same, get up, stretch, come back, and continue to enjoy us playing Deliciously Dark, which is a Curseborne stream. Curseborne is a Kickstarter for Onyx Path. We'd love to have you go over to the Kickstarter page. I'll get the link. I'll drop it in here unless other folks have a friendly link that they can do that for me. I'd appreciate that. And back to Kickstarter and continue to enjoy a horror game brought to you by folks who really know horror, and that's Onyx Path. So we will be back shortly. And we're back. Thanks for those of you who stuck with us through break. I greatly appreciate that, and as do the players. So let me just from the top. The wrong button. That's the button we want. You would have lost us. And now we're back. That is a watch where your cursor is. So you can follow the show if you'd like on a multitude of platforms. I'll put them in chat in case you would like. There's a ton of places that we are. We're also, on previously dead platforms that are now dumpster fires. You can go check us out there. We're still there for the moment. And if you want to support the show, the best way to do that is through our Patreon. That is where we have the most ability to really leverage what supporters do into action for you when it comes to shows. And the Old Ways is very keen on listening to what people want to hear and see us play. And so we're big listeners when it comes to feedback. So that being said, we are going to get things cranked back up here. We'll sort of make a little. I think initiative. I think the combat turn is reasonable, right? We can take a look at the initiative phases, the round phases, as it were, and see how we do that too. Okay. So I will remind my players that there are still 3 points of momentum in their pool, in case any of them might want to say save themselves from being consumed. All right. So to determine initiative in Curseborne, I'm going to give my players the choice, the higher of either athletics and cunning or empathy and dexterity. So if you would all roll that and then let me know how many hits you get.
What was the second choice, Mike? It was
The second choice was empathy and dexterity.
okay.
Higher the two pools.
We have to include our curse dice in the initiative roll.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, personally, why not?
Oh, I have a reason why not.
You do now, yeah. I just think it might be fun.
I got one success.
Okay.
2 successes.
I also got 2.
Okay. So I'll just have Abel and Celine just roll a single D10. Tell me who gets higher.
5.
2.
Okay. So it'll go Abel, Celine, and then Evie, and then the rest of the room. So at this point, you have viciously wounded this creature in front of you. It has continued to squirm and sort of writhe back and forth while gouts of this now slightly acidic fluid continues to pour out of its body. And the smell that has overtaken this portion of the room is enough to turn your stomach. But if you haven't fulfilled the portion of your primal requirement yet, so you don't really have an option to cease what you're doing because this thing's not dead yet.
Mm-hmm. If there is an immediate like I can see that Evie is not doing too hot, right?
You can see, given your multifaceted eyes, yes. You can see probably the entirety of this gross room. You see that Evie is either attacking one of these creatures, but just in a very strange way. She's she sort of dove onto one. You don't know that was intentional. And its thick fingers, which are sort of still sticky from all of the food that it's been eating, have clamped onto her. And they seem to be trying to position Evie to be consumed. Like you can see its maw beginning to open, and all that sticky like saliva and leftover food has begun to sort of drop from parts of its upper jaw. And it looks like it's getting ready to eat her. Or it's going to try to.
Yeah. I think if I'm still in control of my faculties, I just need to kind of display my primal nature. I'm gonna leap over to the one that has Evie and try to get its attention by being a bigger threat.
Okay. So because you're in the damnation portion of your primal spot, you are going to suffer a minor complication. So that's essentially a 1 die setback for you because you're not in control completely of all of your faculties. You're forcing yourself over there to try to deal with the situation. And so you have to get to the point where you can take one of these things out. That's going to resolve your damnation. So feel free with your action to give me a close combat roll. And at that point, you basically have a threshold to overcome. So you'll have to buy off one of the minor complications with one of your hits.
Yo. That's much better than what we have been doing tonight. Not by much, though. That's going to be 3 successes.
Okay. Is that with the one taken out already?
Yes.
Okay.
With the math.
With the math and the things. So you leap over and there's really no way to like get to this thing's vitals without being basically on top of it because of the way the chair sits. And so if you get sort of sandwiched in a way, but the under portion of Abel is nice and soft. So it's not hard or difficult to deal with. It is a little surprising, and as is the reaction that this creature that you're fighting with has when a large portion of its chest and collarbone crack under the mandible pressure that Abel's form exerts. And so 3 hits would give you the opportunity to do a couple of things. So you could again spend 3 for the critical and do 2 levels of damage to the creature. Or you could go through the Curseborne book and buy whatever types of hits that you wanted to buy for combat. Totally up to you.
No, I think just a simple crit. I'm a simple spider. I'm a simple man.
Okay. So you deal the same level of sort of powerful damage to this creature, and it springs a leak, and it's all over the both of you now. And up close and personal, you get a much better smell of what this is coming out of them, and it's used frying oil. You're coated in it now, both of you. But that's your action. Congratulations. You have begun the defense of your compatriot. This will switch now to Celine, who's made her way around this table of disgusting, bloated creatures and is hurriedly going down the hallway after these 2 beings, these 2 humanoid beings that you saw in robes. Can you turn your flashlight back on?
I do.
Okay.
Do I see them?
So you're going to come upon them. Yeah. Within your movement action, you will come upon them. They have left the cart. You had to sidestep that. And you'll see them running effectively away. You're going to be chasing them, but you're within a range band of them.
Yeah, so I'm going to just yell at them. Hey, I want to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean they're not slowing down.
Fine. So could I use a momentum? Do we still have momentum left?
Yep, there's no momentum has been used yet.
Okay. So could I use one to describe a story element in a scene that is now fact?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'd like to use one to I'd like to suddenly have a wall appear in front of them to stop them.
Okay. So you call upon the very forces of the universe, and you think to yourself, there's no way that hallway goes on forever. And you hear a couple of rapid sort of thumps against this far wall. It's still probably a good, 20 or so feet that they have on you, but it doesn't seem like they can find a way out, and they turn around. But that's your action. And that means that we come to Evie, grappled by one of these creatures that is now leaking used cooking oil all over her and all over Abel. My question to you, Evie, is in this grapple, what is your plan?
I mean, I'm oiled up now. Would I just slip out of their grasp?
You could. So it is possible for you to fight back against the grapple. I like the idea that you're being inventive enough to think that you're oiled up and that you might be a little slippery at this point. That's probably a good call. So there is a close combat melee trick that you can buy that would allow you to break up a grapple. So when targeting character is part of a grapple that you were not in, so that's something that potentially Abel could do. It looks like the best way for you to get out of this would be to make probably a might close combat roll against it and try to end the grapple. I will make a defense roll against that.
I mean, you don't have to roll. It's okay. Oh my God. Okay, I definitely have one success. The skull on the dice that the Old Ways podcast gifted me. Is that a 10 or a failure?
That's a 10.
Oh, okay, 3 successes.
Okay. So you would have enough to buy off the complication in this space, and you'll succeed in being able to spend the other 2 hits on breaking the grapple. It's basically you're shoving them away from you. They didn't get any successes, which makes sense because they're not really, that's not what they're here in this space to do. And so physically speaking, they can't really hold on to you too tight. As oiled up as you are now, you wriggle out of that grasp. You are certainly the worse for wear, having seen their maw up close. And now there is an enormous 8-legged creature, Abel, on top of them directly. And they'll have to likely engage with him shortly. Speaking of, it is their action. So there are a couple of them around the table that have been damaged. Two specifically. One you're on now, and the one that Abel engaged with earlier. And so, Abel, I would like you to make a defense roll. That's stamina.
Absolutely. Oh shit. Okay. All right. I still have the complication though, correct?
You do, because you're still technically in damnation mode.
Copy all. I'm doing so. This was so good on 3 dice.
Mhm.
With the complication, that's going to be 4.
Well, that's pretty fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Two
you
tens.
it. I think the best way to put it is it squirts at you. So out of the hole that you made in its body, its tissues coalesce and eject something from inside of it at you. And when you, limber, very, very flexible, you sort of lean down with all of your limbs. When it passes over you, you feel the warmth, and you are fairly certain it was scalding hot when it came out. And when it hits the ground behind you, a good 4 or 5 feet of your spider army is consumed in an acidic bath. And that's its action.
Target acquired.
So the one behind you, the one that you'd first attacked, is going to do sort of the same thing, but its plan is to coat the ground in hopes of dealing with your troublemakers. And that is not going to work because it did not get any successes. So the table is very quickly being spoiled. All of the meat which is on it is going to be covered with this sort of viscous acidic fluid. And that will take us back to the top of the round, which is you, Abel.
Second verse, same as the first. Rather than hopping away, this first one has killed what I rightly call my family. So I'm going to just tear into it again.
Okay. Like that.
Okay. With the complication, that's also 4 successes, 2 tens and a 9.
Very good. So you use that opportunity after this fluid flies over you to rear up after it's done and sort of stand a bit on 4 of your legs and then surge forward and bite. And when you do, you crush spinal column and a ton of the sinew and vertebrae that are at the top, sort of the base of the neck of this creature. And its head pops off. And it deflates or begins to deflate. And so that will take you out of damnation mode as you have brought a creature to the taken out status, which is one of the requirements. And so now you don't have a complication based on that. You don't have any curse dice at this point, but you've bought off the damnation. So you sort of come back to a little bit to reality. You're less primal at this point, and you're sort of vibrating with all of the adrenaline running through all your limbs. You're still in that mode, but it's a little calmer here. Speaking
Excellent.
of places it's not calm, and that's the hallway where Celine has cornered, frankly, a couple of beings in these burlap robes. They've turned to you, and they're going to their waist to sort of pull something out, you can tell.
Oh, no, they're not. I mean, they are.
They are.
Just looking.
Mhm.
Can I use... Can I use my Many Faces spell? It will require me to bleed a curse die.
Do you have a curse die to bleed?
I do.
Okay. What does
That
Many
puts me
Faces
at
do?
0. That puts me at 0, so I get my damnation. The Many Faces spell is the outcast appears to be whomever her target needs her to be in that moment. Activates the spell to shift your character's features into a new appearance until the end of the session, or the outcast chooses to drop it. This can affect hair color, type, length, skin tone, features, height, weight, and build. May not impersonate someone exactly, but may create a false persona. I gain +2 enhancement to actions to conceal my identity. But it doesn't talk about that it changes clothes. It's kind of hoping to...
Yeah, I'll say it changes your clothes. Why not?
Okay. So then I'd like to suddenly appear as wearing the same thing that these robed beings are wearing.
Okay. That bleeding, that curse die though, will put you into damnation as an outcast. Yeah.
Yes.
So when a outcast goes into damnation, why don't you tell us what happens?
Everyone in the nearby area gets a momentary glimpse into what the outcast truly is, an inhuman creature from another plane of existence. But while the memory quickly fades, it has a lingering impact, and this imposes the enraptured status effect on everyone except other outcasts who witnessed it. The outcast must reconnect with humanity in the form of creating or improving a bond to a mundane human. This usually takes the form of some kind of mundane act, such as giving an acquaintance advice about love or helping their favorite barista to get a raise from her manager. If the sudden shift in priorities inconveniences her or one of her crew, she gains a curse die or momentum after taking the action.
I love this for you.
Yes.
I love this for you. Okay, so here is what happens. You reach out to these beings, these cloaked beings, and you ask the universe to tell you who they care for the most, the person that is important to them. Because you know that if you can become the person who is important to them, you can manipulate them. And realistically, you'd rather manipulate them than get into a fight with anyone. It's more your style. It's easier to talk to people and just simply convince them of what you need. And so you're astonished when you adjust your hair and it seems longer than you would expect. It's blonde with a little bit of brown in it. You're wearing a Nirvana shirt and pajama bottoms. And without even having a mirror, you know who you are. Who are you, Celine?
I'm Rose. The little kid, not kid, whatever she is.
The figures stop and they do a double take. You see them come to seem to question what they're looking at. You can't see the outline. You can see that they have heads and faces, and there's got to be some definition of a chin, perhaps a nose there, but you haven't seen any eyes, a mouth either. And they immediately kneel.
Oh, well, I'm used to this. So this I can work with.
You are.
Trying to impersonate Rose. Just like a little kid. Or a teenage kid. Guys, get up. What are you doing?
You speak to them and they tilt their heads up. You see the slightest bit of the hood fall back, and you can see that there are no eyes. And they do not have a mouth. The nose they have is perfunctory. There's no nostrils to it. And their skin is a dark and almost oily texture. There's a bit of glow from your flashlight that creates a gleam and sheen across their faces. I'll leave you there for just a second. Evie, you and Abel are, frankly, able to separate yourselves from this space. The other creatures that are in this room are continuing to moan, but they're not stopping to do anything but eat. The spiders that Abel called have crawled back into the corners that they came from. And you are left with this cacophony of hunger on display. And the worst part is that you are, well, sympathetic. Everyone has to eat. What are the two of you doing? And I wonder, Evie, what your reaction would have been to seeing Abel in his primal form. Because that hasn't gone away yet either.
Evie's initial reaction is definitely a little bit of shock because her kind doesn't normally run with Abel's kind. But there's something sort of admirable of just be yourself. I like that. I like that, Abel. I like who you are. Don't have to hide that.
Yeah, you say that now, but well, let's just say I was looking at you with a little more of a kinder eye a minute ago.
I really want a bath.
Yeah, I don't feel great. This feels like I'm covered in canola oil, which is not, it's not a feeling I'm enjoying now.
No. I'm going to sort of casually head the direction that Celine went while looking upon the creatures. I was debating about flipping the table, but I get it.
There's something about them that you connect with.
Mm-hmm.
You too are hungry. You wonder where they came from. They're certainly not human. And you wonder what their purpose is. But there are other things to mind and find. Perhaps you can ask the family about it. So you move on down the corridor. Abel, are you going with?
Absolutely. However, before we go, I think you would stop Evie. So, do we want to take care of them just quick and quiet like?
I don't think they've really done anything wrong. They're just existing. They're just eating.
Yeah. It's
I
kind of
think,
sad though.
I mean, unless you want to ask them their feelings, I don't think we should presume what the situation is for them. Maybe this is exactly what they want. I don't know anything about who they are, where they came from. Maybe this is exactly where they want to be and what they want to be doing. I think the hooded figures are probably more of the culprits of anything. They're the ones
Yeah,
that incite hunger.
make good points. Yeah, I'll, I'll follow your lead.
Okay, Celine. These figures have revealed themselves to you. They don't even appear to have ears as much as they have depressions on the left and the right hand side of their heads where ears would be. What are you saying to them? Are you saying anything to them?
I asked them what they're doing.
You get a series of vibrational tones that come back at you. You find it very hard to interpret what they're saying. Their jaws move, but imagine someone's jaw moving when there are no lips or teeth. There's just a flap of skin over it. And so there's a lot of humming and maybe some clicking.
And I have no idea what they're saying.
You do not. Unless you have some sort of telepathic ability I'm unaware of.
Nope. I can't say take me to your leader because apparently I'm their leader.
Well, you are the person that means the most to them. That's in effect what you wanted. And so you got what you wanted. And while you're considering what to say, flashlights and noise in the hallway behind you bring Evie and Abel. Abel, you are now able to get your form under control. And so you can appear as you have the entire time.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll tuck the arms away and adjust the bandana as the eyes kind of fade and the bristles become hair once more.
Yeah, and the wildest thing is in this hallway, you see Rose. And just beyond Rose, there are two robed beings that are almost rubbery black. It's as if the best thing I could equate it to describe it would be more like seal skin. So it appears a little wet and it appears flexible. I wouldn't say that it is as it's not like a xenomorph head in that way. We'll keep Geiger for a totally different stream. But there's definitely something weird about these beings. They do have noses. They don't appear to have eyes, although they do track the light when you shine it near them. There are no mouths. And there are just these slight depressions for ears. And they're on their knees in front of Rose.
Hey,
Oh, Rose.
what the fuck are you? What do you mean? Oh, what? No, I'm
I mean, she's a
no.
little cult leader. Look at you go.
Evie and Abel, I'm going to have you make perception rolls for me.
Oh no.
Because with the damnation in place that Celine has, we're going to see if you pick up on something.
Copy. Cunning and perception. What is there? What is
Yeah, sure.
perception? Oh. It could last forever. One success.
2 successes.
Okay. So I'm going to say that this requires more than a single success. And the reason for that is because being who she is, you have to be able to see a little bit more. So what I'd like for Celine's player Morgan to do is I would like you to tell us when Evie sees beyond your mask, what does Celine look like as an outcast?
Oh, good. I was already thinking about this earlier, so this is great. So Celine underneath her as an outcast underneath the mask has horns, 2 large red horns that come out the side of her head, as well as a halo that shines above, and large leathery black wings that match the leather and brown mixture of her body. The leather black and brown mixture of her body. And she's got bright red eyes.
And so Evie sees through the rose disguise and
Yep.
sees. And I know this is Celine now,
Or
I just know there's a different creature underneath all that.
you haven't seen so Celine hasn't turned to see you,
Mhm.
but the image of Rose has sort of washed away for you. The halo especially sort of burns out that after image of Rose. I would say you're fairly likely pegging this as Celine, if only because this form has her, well, feminine shape, minus the leathery wings and the horns and whatnot. But it's either that or Rose has been in disguise the entire time,
Oh.
which is possible.
I feel like Evie kind of grabs for Abel and like, oh my gosh, I recognize this from the counter when Celine leaned over. I don't think that's Rose, Abel. I think that's Celine. Just an FYI.
Okay.
And she's beautiful.
We really got to talk about like the tension between the two of you. I'm going to tuck the knife away that I was prepping.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's her, then cool. What the fuck is she doing disguised? Can we approach? Are we gonna blow their cover or like what's
What's that
what do
blue
you see?
cover?
What do you see? I don't. What do you mean she's beautiful? What does that mean? Like,
She just has this form, like a halo and wings. And okay, I'll stop talking so I don't blow it. But yeah, I'll have to draw it for you later or something. I don't know.
all right, sure.
Hi, Rose.
Okay. So a couple of things. When Evie pipes up with the hello, Rose, you feel something inside of you, Celine, change. Because when Evie's voice arrives in your ears, the something inside of you knows that she has seen you that you weren't able to hold things together. And you have to be better than that. You can't let people see who you are. That's how you got shunned in the first place. That's how you got pushed out. Someone saw that halo. Someone saw the horns or the tip of that leathery wing.
So does this invoke my personal torment?
Absolutely.
I always feel like I'm living a double life, one where I always have to keep my cursed side under control.
Yep,
Does that mean I get a cursed die?
it does.
Yeah, now I'm back to 1.
You are. But you're back to 1 with the knowledge that Evie has seen you. What do you do?
Oh, what do I do? Oh, it's my. Oh. Yeah, I turn around and look at Evie and look back at my little cult of minions and just say, she's with me. He's with me. You need to take us to the next step in this plan.
They stand. They turn. They begin walking back down the hallway that previously you'd changed. They get to the wall and put their hands on it and search for something. See one of them pound a fist on it.
Oh, is this the wall that I put up?
Uh-huh.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Is there any way to take that illusion away?
You bet. You could change part of the scene with a point of momentum.
Well, let's do that.
Okay. You
Use
wave your
momentum.
hand. As you wave your hand, Evie, you see just over Celine's left shoulder, you see her hand, which is a elegant yet clawed hand. Long fingernails, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. And the wall in front of these two robed figures disappears. It drives itself into dust against the walls to the left and the right hand side. They react, finally moving forward. You can hear them click and make these sort of moaning sounds, and they move forward slowly. Are you going to follow them?
Yes.
Okay. Evie and Abel also following?
Yeah. Do we get the sense that like these guys truly believe that this is Rose? Like that there's like not a doubt in their minds. Like this is just this is what they see, this is who they follow, this is their leader.
They do seem to be following her orders. You're not even certain what these creatures are. You passed a cart full of body parts on the way in here that they had left, seemingly to continue feeding these beings from the other room. But as this
For sure.
stretches forward, you see it begin to come to a archway. And there are a series of scents that you pick up on, Abel. There's more oil in that room, and there's like cooking seasoning.
Hmm. It's happening again. I think that there's another whispering, of course, specifically to. Well, I guess if I can whisper to both of them, yeah, just there's another. I think there's another room coming up, full of the eaters, whatever you want to call them, the hungry, the. Sorry, is that offensive?
Yeah.
Okay, please don't look at me like that. I really didn't mean to offend. I'm being dead serious. I apologize. Um, yeah, I think it just smells like there's another room coming up.
Do we just follow like nothing's wrong? Like we're not gonna stab anybody or
I mean, they didn't seem like interested in anything beside what was on the table when we first encountered. Truth be told, it got probably a lot messier than it needed to.
okay. I agree. Let's just keep rolling with it. Why not? And if anybody finds a napkin, let me know, please.
Yeah, yeah.
You move forward into this space, and regretfully, you do not find another room of eaters, as you called them. What you do find is what looks like the strangest commercial kitchen you've ever seen. And so, in this roughly rectangular room, there are a series of cooking stations lined up along the walls. Some are used to boil water and likely some sort of food product inside of it. Others are grill tops in a disgusting fashion made of different pieces of wrought iron that have been likely pulled from cemeteries or unknown locations. And there are big pieces of meat on each one of these grills. The sort of scent and smell of cooked flesh really dominates this space. And along the middle portion are what look like ghastly prep tables of all manner of pieces. And at each one of these prep table spaces, there are what look like more muscular and thinner versions of the eaters that are chained to the floor. And it looks like their arms are chained to the table. And in each one of these appendages, these big, meaty, strong hands, they carry cleavers. And they're just continuing to cut and separate and prepare meat before sliding it over onto the other side of the prep table where there are platters. And then those platters are brought by men in these robes into the places where they need to be cooked. And it's a fairly tall room. And on the far side of that room, this room's probably about 25, 30 feet deep at most. On the far side of that room, there's a passageway. Looks like it's almost like a balcony. And you see Rose on that balcony. And she is sort of sitting just on the corner, looking down. She has a spiral notebook in her hand and what looks like a pen. And she's drawing. The air here is separated by sound every probably 20 seconds or so as another one of these butchers cut into a prospective piece of meat. And the tough part for the three of you is that the prospective pieces seem to have come from people in the Polaroids. Some of whom you know.
Fucking Horrific. Oh shit. Do you see, or rather, I guess, question for our story guide, do we see the the all-powerful Hungry that Evie had seen earlier? Or
Uh,
a piece of him or pieces of him?
maybe there are pieces of him on that plate. Maybe there are pieces of him on that grill. That
Yeah, kind of a stretch to
that head
piece it
over
together.
there is 100% Terry's head, Celine. It's staring back at you.
And I still look like Rose, right? I haven't lost my
You have not. You
my
still look like Rose.
glamour or whatever. My disguise. Cool. And she's sitting in the corner over there
Up there. Yes.
or up there. Has she spotted us yet?
You don't think so? She's writing.
Has her little minion spotted her?
You're not sure. The two that you came in with, they sort of just duck right back into line and continue on with the process of processing meat. You see her stop drawing, puts her notebook down. You made it, you hear from above. Great. Hungry?
No,
She talking to
not
us?
She's definitely
particularly.
talking to you.
Sorry, Abel. By all means, let her know that you're not hungry. That's fine.
Mm.
Oh, were you?
No, I wasn't about to talk. I just.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, no, I'm good.
I don't have a rapport
What?
with her.
What you got going on here, kiddo?
Dinner.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. That's the way this place works.
Would you care to elaborate? What do you mean? What does that mean? Like everybody's just dinner, or what? What is this? What?
Well, it started a long time ago, really, back in 87. Way, 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 way out in space. There was a supernova. A star blew up. And it left a pretty little ring in the galaxy somewhere. But when that happened, because nature abhors a vacuum, some of that energy came here into this world. And it just so happened that it was the day I was born. I was born right here in this gas station. My mom had some down-home fried chicken, and she went into labor. We went outside to start the car. My dad tried to turn that old Pontiac over a bunch of times, and it never did work. Gas station tried to call the hospital, send an ambulance, but it wasn't going to make it in time. So I got real lucky. Real lucky. And Richard, behind the counter there at the chicken shack, he helped my mom through it. And I came bursting into the world right next to this 4-piece chicken meal. Unfortunately, my mom didn't make it. And so Richard took me in his own. And I learned under him. I learned what being hungry meant. He showed me. And he showed me that this special meal that he had created was real simple. People kept coming back for it. Like a thirst they couldn't quench. year after year, everybody came back and ate that chicken. And then every once in a while, he'd pluck one of them, just like a feather. And they'd come down here, and they'd be a part of what we offer here. Energy. Real energy. It's helped build this place. I couldn't help but watch you eat that chicken and think, when are you going to come back for your next meal? I've watched this place for 40 plus years. One way or the other. Everybody comes back. So it's only a matter of time. We cut up the meal. The butchers feed the folks you saw out front, and they eat. And after they're completely full, the byproduct is what we use in the oil to make the chicken. It's all a process. Mama would be so proud. Now, there's a lot of ways this can go. I have fought a lot of people over the years, you understand. A lot of people have come in here and they have vowed that they would leave. They've even threatened to kill me. I can't tell you how many times. But you all are different. You're not wriggly little humans. You're all part of a different family. And so, I'll leave the room to you. Let me know how it works out, okay? She gets up from like the balcony railing and grabs her notebook. I'm sure the prep team will explain everything. And in turn, the prep team that is near you, these 4 or 5 butchers, they shake in their chains with these massive cleavers, and you begin to see one by one the pins that hold them to the floor begin to come loose. And for now, that is where our story will pause. So the next time we gather for our final portion of Deliciously Dark, we're going to ask our Curseborne a few new questions. Hopefully you've enjoyed the story so far, and we look forward to having you back soon. So we'll return 2 weeks from today for our finale. So before I exit us, I want to make a couple of notes. If you are in the Madison, Wisconsin area this week, we are going to be at GameholeCon. Some of us will be live there doing streamed interviews and streamed gameplay. And we would love for you to stop by and say hello. Or if you can't be there, tune in on Twitch. We'll have programming events during the morning and during the early afternoon, and that is in Central Daylight Time. There, if you follow our links to Threads, you can see the schedule on our Threads account. So before I go, though, I want to make sure our players get their exits. So please, if we go in introduction order, tell us who you are, tell us who you've been playing, and tell us where we can find you.
Hi, I'm Morgan, yet again, and I play Celine Morwin, Outcast, part of the Monoficient, I'm never going to be able to pronounce it, family. We like to, give you what you desire. I like to have people bow down and kiss my feet and owe me things, stuff like that. And I'm part of the Old Ways podcast cast. You can most often find me on the Old Ways podcast Discord, where we talk about all sorts of things, not to, but including movies, shows, games, the podcast, stuff like that. So hop on over.
Awesome.
Sorry.
You're good.
Oh, okay, cool. Fine.
Go for it.
Sorry. Hi, I am Pesto Mystic, and I have been playing Evie tonight, the hungry, part of the bathing family, family. And yeah, you can find me on Twitch under Pesto Mystic, or right here on the Old Ways Twitch channel, also playing Shadowrun alongside Morgan.
You betcha. You betcha. Fantastic. And last, but oh so certainly not least.
Hello, everyone. I am Gilbert Ramos, aka Ramos the Nomad on all the platforms. I am the CEO and founder of Rolling Nomads here on Twitch. Um, I tonight have been Ebo Rascado, the primal of the Eight Hands family, and it has been my honor to lightly give everyone just a slight case of arachnophobia.
Fabulous. And speaking of the Rolling Nomads, we are going to stick around and raid them because it would be fun. They're friends of the channel, and so there's no reason not to. And make sure that when you get over there, you refresh to make sure that all that hits for them. And with that, we will see you soon. Stay safe, everybody.